Hey friends, welcome to the channel. If you want to develop a solid comprehension in your target language, but you have enough of boring grammar books and boring material, then this is the right video for you. Los geht's! My name is Dustin. I'm an IT project manager from Germany. On this channel we create content that helps us to be more productive, to learn new things, especially languages, and to live a happier and more fulfilling life. Today we're going to talk about extensive reading, which is a technique to learn foreign languages by reading and not classical studying. What I mean by that I'll explain later. There's of course also another technique called intensive reading, which I won't cover today, but in another video, which then in turn will be part of a mini-series about reading in foreign languages. For today I first have to shortly explain again Stephen Krashen's theory of second language acquisition, or better known as the comprehensible input hypothesis. And then we'll discover why extensive reading is aligning with that perfectly, what the benefits are, and overall how to do it without going too much in detail, because for that there will be further videos. Alright, let's dive into today's First, a nice sip of coffee, of course. Los geht's! Stephen Krashen, a prominent linguist and educator, proposed the comprehensible input hypothesis as a framework for understanding how second languages are acquired. He says that language acquisition occurs best when you are exposed to language that is slightly above your current proficiency level, but still understandable, or in other words, comprehensible input. But that's not all. This input should also be meaningful and relevant to your interests and needs, which means it should be compelling. So through the exposure to comprehensible input through activities such as reading, listening, and meaningful communication, we actually acquire language in a natural order. That means to internalize linguistic features in a predictable sequence, similar to how native speakers acquire language, like children. Of course, we can speed things up a bit by also spending some time with grammar on the side, but the majority of our learning should nevertheless come from reading, listening, and then at a later stage, also speaking and writing, depending on your needs, of course. Nevertheless, it all starts with building up your comprehension through reading and also listening. And that's where extensive reading comes into play. Extensive reading involves reading a wide variety of texts such as books, articles, or online content at a comfortable pace and difficulty. Again, the input should be comprehensible and compelling, and when I'm talking about reading, then I also mean listening. Always try to do both. First read and then listen afterwards, or you can also do both at the same time. I mostly read it and then later listen to it while I'm doing other things with my headphones on usually. The primary goal of extensive reading and listening is to develop reading fluency, improve vocabulary, and enhance overall comprehension skills. Some key features are reading for enjoyment. Unlike intensive reading, which involves close analysis and study of a text, extensive reading prioritizes enjoyment and relaxation. Then the volume of reading. Extensive reading emphasizes reading a large quantity of material, often at or slightly below your current level of proficiency. Then minimal focus on comprehension checks. While comprehension is important, extensive reading typically involves minimal interruption for comprehension checks or analysis. When you don't understand single words, you look at the translation and then move on. There are several benefits for extensive reading. One is the vocabulary acquisition. Exposing yourself to a wide range of words and phrases in context helps to expand vocabulary naturally. After you have stumbled upon a word multiple times, you'll know it. That is actually spaced repetition in context and super useful because it's fun and not as boring as doing flashcards. You can improve your reading speed and fluency by reading extensively, and you become more comfortable with the language and can read more quickly and fluidly. Exactly the same applies to listening. Also, reading various texts exposes you to different cultures, perspectives, and ideas, broadening your knowledge. And then when it comes to the implementation, you should choose texts that are interesting and enjoyable to read and that are at a level where you can understand the majority of the content without struggling excessively. So if you know approximately 80 to 95% of the vocabulary, then you should be good to go. That ensures that it's comprehensible. I also often get asked how to find content that is actually at the right level for you. And here I got some tips. So use an app or an ebook reader where you can look up single words and ideally even phrases without breaking your reading flow. That you just need to click on a word and then immediately see the translation without flipping pages or so. There are several ways for doing that. I like to use an app called LingQ, but there are also free ones like Readlang or Lute. Those apps have the advantage that you can see which words you know already and which not, but also ebook reader like Kindle also offer integrated dictionaries. If you just start out, use children content like books, videos, etc. This content has a simpler language and can help you, especially at the beginning. Also, plays are easier material that indicate through its structure who is talking to whom, and also doesn't have too much text per page, which makes it feel less daunting. You can also reread books that you have already read and know by heart. A famous example for that are the Harry Potter books, which also have been translated to a huge amount of languages. Or if you are not ready for that yet, maybe read The Little Prince. And the next point heads into the same direction. Read whole series of books, because words will repeat themselves and you have a nice progression from book to book. Again, the Harry Potter series is great for that. And that should allow you to level your way up from easy material to more complex material. If you want to know more about that, applied especially on reading books, I've made this video here where I line out a plan in detail on how to achieve a high degree of reading fluency. Then watch series and movies that you have watched already in a different language, and also use subtitles in the target language to follow along. Animated stuff is super useful because they are normally dubs in all kind of languages. Same applies to YouTube videos with subtitles that also support the things being said by showing animations and other material. And when reading paper books, you should be okay with not understanding everything and just try to guess stuff from context. As long as you can follow along with the plot, then the difficulty should be fine. The next one is about how to find compelling input. You're not in school anymore, so you should use content that you genuinely like. Or genuinely, that's a hard word. What things are you reading in your mother tongue or in a language you know already? When do you really lose track of time and fully immerse yourself? Ask yourself those questions and then try to find content that suits that the best way. Also, at the very beginning of learning a new language, it can be hard to really find compelling input, because the level of complexity you can potentially understand maybe doesn't offer enough potential to make stuff really interesting. You into gaming? Great, then find some text-heavy games that you can use as a form of extensive reading, providing exposure to language in a contextually rich environment. The goal has to be to immerse yourself, and when playing the game and reading as well as listening to the story gets you there, then it's great, but don't fool yourself. It has to be a game where the majority of time you spend is following dialogues and text. Playing an ego shooter won't get you far. I've already made other videos about that topic and you can find them also here. Then set goals for the amount of reading you aim to accomplish each day or week. But even more important than that, make it a habit by identifying time slots throughout the day you can use to do reading and listening exercises. I've already made another video about that here. Understanding the Comprehensible Input Hypothesis by Stephen Krashen underscores the importance of engaging with understandable and meaningful language content. Through extensive reading and listening, you can enhance your vocabulary, fluency, and cultural understanding. By selecting appropriate materials, utilizing tools, and establishing consistent practice habits, you can effectively progress in your language learning journey. Remember to prioritize enjoyable and comprehensible content and keep exploring different methods to enhance your skills. Please let me know in the comments if you have any other tips when it comes to reading and listening practice. I've got another video about how to get to the point of actually being able to read a full-blown novel here. Or if you want to know more about intensive reading, then in the future you'll be able to find another video somewhere here. If you found the video useful, please leave me a like and a subscription to the channel, and to not miss anything going forward, click also on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching and see you the next time.